I think it's fascinating that the White House Correspondents Association has canceled this comedian. Now, this guy, Eugene Daniels, we've shown him to the audience before. He's openly LGBT. I don't know about T. I mean, he's posting pictures of himself in like trying to look like Beyonce and sexy Beyonce clothing and wigs. Okay, this is him. He's the president of the White House Correspondents. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Okay. The listening audience, please just go to youtube.com. Okay, I can't do this justice. Go about an hour into the show and you will see it. youtube.com/Megyn Kelly. And Eugene thought this woman, Amber Ruffin, would be a great hire for the White House Correspondents Dinner. And now, why did he think that she would be a great hire for this dinner, where the rule here at the Gridiron, at the Al Smith dinner, all of which are events at which the president will typically appear. I mean, it's a great get. The president will come and he'll make fun of himself and he'll take the press's barbs too, or those of a comedian. And it's like a spirit of unity. But the rule was always singe, don't burn. That is the rule until Trump. And then these comedians started coming out and lighting bonfires about Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her devil mascara or whatever the line was. I can't remember it, but it was mean. And ripping Trump, like, talk about burning. I mean, it was truly like 5-alarm fire burning. Okay, we have an example of this. Yeah, here's a montage. Oh, here we go. My team's way ahead of me of some of what we've seen over the years. SOT 11.
And I am truly honored to be here, even though all of Hollywood pulled out now that King Joffrey is president and it feels like the Red Wedding in here. We gotta address the elephant that's not in the room.
Trump isn't here, if you haven't noticed. He's not here. And I know I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the president of the United States is the one pussy you're not allowed to grab.
Nice. You're all supposed to keep it classy, but anyway. So Amber Ruffin gets hired for the gig, and hold on a second. We have a little bit of how she sounded prior to getting hired. Take a listen.
In an interview on Monday, President Trump said that the phrase Black Lives Matter is, quote, bad for Black people. I fact-checked that statement, and I found out that it is, in fact, not true. I did some more digging and found out that it was also a dumb thing to think. In addition to that, it's an even dumber thing to say. And those are the facts.
Oh, my God. That is just so typical leftist. It's not funny. It's political. It's ripping Trump. She's looking for applause, not laughs. And so Eugene Daniels was like, yeah, right on. That's our girl. Let's do this. So she gets hired, and the Trump White House, through a spokesperson, a deputy comms person, tweets out, I think comms, tweets out something like, really? And she then goes on a media tour promoting her gig. And the media tour gets her fired. Here, in particular, is what appears to have gotten her fired, SOT 7.
Okay, so will anyone from the administration be attending? How much do you actually know about who will be in attendance? Do you get, like, the rundown?
I'm sure that I will at some point.
You will.
I know the news organizations that will be attending. Like, I'm not 100% interested in being like, ha, you're here. Look at your stupid head. You're burned. I care that, like, you're kind of a bunch of murderers. I mean, so, like, they were like, you need to be, equal and make sure that that you give it to both sides and blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be freaking doing that, dude. Under no circumstance. Yeah, I think it's just that burns on Trump hurt badly. And then it trickles down to everyone who's around him. Because y'all also guilty. So I think they got their feelings hurt. And they want that false equivalency that the media does. They want that. It feels great. It makes them feel like human beings. But they shouldn't get to feel that way because they're not.
Some people are more culpable than others.
That's right.
And they get more jokes made about them. And the jokes are meaner because they're doing things that are worse.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. That's how that goes. It can't be even. It actually can't.
How you could do
God.
It can't be even-handed.
And becoming a part of what's wrong.
This is who they hire. So that finally got her fired with this sanctimonious statement by Eugene Daniels, who had earlier said, I mean, this woman's beliefs about Trump and the right were not a mystery. We could play 10 more sound bites. But when he hired her on February 4th, he announced he personally chose her, that her talents are unique and the ideal fit for this current political and cultural climate. Her perspective will fit right in, he said, at this dinner. And only when she came out and said the truth about what she's going to do to Samantha Bee on this podcast was he then forced, because the White House and the right were completely ripping them to shreds. And I'm sure that there were many right-leaning journalists saying, we're not going to go sit there. And the administration, I mean, Trump's not going already, but maybe they got an administration official or two, I'm sure all of whom said, we're out. Then he issues this statement saying, the White House Correspondents Association board has unanimously decided we are no longer featuring a comedic performance this year. I want to ensure the focus is not on the politics of division, but entirely on awarding our colleagues, he says, at this consequential moment for journalism, entirely on awarding our colleagues for their outstanding work, their scholarship and mentorship for the next generation of journalists. So, what do you make of it, Emily? It's now, there's not going to be a comedian because what we need to do is focus on the outstanding work of the White House press corps.
Oh, yes, it must be celebrated. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier, in that anytime they say that there's disproportionate, you're like, oh, your coverage isn't even, it's not balanced between Republicans and Democrats. They say that's because Republicans are worse. This is where they can't even tell what their own biases are. And obviously, this is a comedian who is clearly on the left. She's not claiming to be anything else. But that's the White House Correspondents Association, the bastion of journalistic integrity, saying her views are going to fit right in. Of course, this is exactly what we need. And, if they wanted someone who would do a great job skewering Trump and skewering Democrats as well, you could find someone like Theo Vaughn, or you could find someone like even Joe Rogan or Shane Gillis, Andrew Schultz, these guys.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Right. And it's actually a really good parallel with what we're talking about with your New York Times interview. It's like they don't understand that some really popular comedians actually go after Republicans, too, actually go after Trump. They're equal opportunity in the same way a lot of podcasters are equal opportunity. They don't hold back when they disagree with him or when he does something that's, funny and could be spoofed or satirized. And so they have no idea. They're just in these insane bubbles where they think the only person who can do a good job at the White House Correspondents Association dinner is Amber Ruffin, who is not funny. It's like they hadn't evolved since 2017 with the rest of the country, even though Donald Trump was just elected again with an even higher margin in the Electoral College. So they're completely out of touch. They were caught in it. And the last thing I'll say is this is always what the White House Correspondents Association dinner should have been. They want to claim it's a fundraiser. They want to claim the moral high ground. We're fundraising for journalism. It's about democracy. Okay, well then stop making it a Hollywood spectacle and just fundraise. Do that, fine. But stop acting like this is some great thing for the country when it's actually just an orgy of elitism.
Yeah. Or what would have been so easy, Eliana? Go for Jim Gaffigan, who spoke at the Al Smith dinner. He's a comedian. He's never been really a Trump fan, but he did a great job that night of ripping on both sides. Remember, this is the one that Kamala didn't show up at. It's this big Catholic ado in New York City. We were there, and Trump clearly finds him acceptable because Trump showed up. Gaffigan was there. Trump was there. Trump laughed. He's very able to make fun of himself, very open to it. If it's a singe, not burn. It's not that hard. Just freaking pay up. Go with Gaffigan, go with somebody Trump, but they don't care. They don't want Trump there. And by the way, Eugene Daniels knew that because he did a joint interview with this Amber Ruffin on Morning Joe when they made the announcement, and the following exchange happened. Look at SOT 9.
You say you have invited President Trump and the First Lady to attend. In his first term, he never did.
He didn't. He had 4 shots.
Mm-hmm. 4 shots.
He missed them all.
Do you hope to see him there?
No.
No, she said, sitting next to Eugene. He's well aware of Amber's feelings about the Trump administration and Trump himself. That's how she got the invite. So why do you think he pulled it? Like, why didn't he just say, oh, calm down, we're going to stick by her?
Couple reasons. I mean, first of all, the goal should be to have the president there. Makes it a more newsworthy event. And one thing we haven't talked about is that there's talk of actually the White House participating in a counter-programming event with conservative journalists, which would actually take the air out of this event. But Eugene Daniels, who was a co-author of Politico Playbook, sort of the flagship newsletter of the DC elites, has quit that and left to be a host on the left-wing MSNBC, which is spinning off from MSNBC or from NBC to become its own, network, independent network. And as a result of that, there have been calls for him to resign from the White House Correspondents, from the presidency of the White House Correspondents Association, which is supposed to be held by somebody, who's an ostensibly neutral White House reporter. And he's resisted those calls. I think there's also been some unhappiness with the way the White House Correspondents Association has managed this rift with the White House over the White House's takeover of the pool, the White House press pool. This is all very, very Washington inside baseball. But the long and short of it is there's a vibe shift in this town, and this is part of it, which is that it now hurts you to have some lunatic comedian appearing at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. And rather than be honest about that and say, this is not an appropriate entertainer for our dinner because she said X, Y, and Z, they're doing a New York Times and they are lying to their audience about the real reasons for this shift. And beyond that, the ultimate defense of comedy is being funny. And she did not have that defense.
You don't go out and buy a life jacket when the boat's already sinking, and you don't buy gold when the economy's already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you, and you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA and physical gold for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, just text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.